Court dismisses Hela Governorship challenge.
I am a bit unsatisfied.
More illegal products confiscated from Asian shops in Leh. And civil society group cries foul over bankable land push.
This is the National EMTV News with Meriba Tulo.
A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for Wednesday's news. The National Court in Port Moresby has dismissed an application to review the declaration of Hela Governor Philip Undialu. Justice Elenas Batari ruled there were errors made in the plaintiff Francis Potape's submission.
This election petition was filed before the Court of Disputed Returns in November last year. It was filed on grounds that the Hela Provincial Returning Officer had made errors in the declaration of the governor's seat.
Grounds are very narrow. That as soon as the results were ascertained, the person who polled the highest at that time should have been declared, which not happened. So that's why we filed this petition, to have those results recognized and declarations made by the court. So those are fairly straightforward allegations.
In this petition, Potape was seeking court orders to object the declaration of Hela Governor Philip Undialu. In his submissions, Potape alleges that the PRO had failed to declare him as the duly elected candidate, and that the PRO had failed also to make a public declaration with Potape's name on the writ.
We will, the lawyer and myself will sit down and then review the decision of the judge this morning. I was strongly of the view that all election petitions should actually go to trial, and that through the trial proper, the judges can make a solid decision as to what had happened. And but what had happened this morning, and I am a bit unsatisfied, but that doesn't matter. I respect the court's decision, and I will sit down with my lawyer and.
Instead, the court found that Potape's submissions were based on assumptions. The court then ordered that the application be dismissed. Outside the court, Hela Governor Philip Undialu was happy with the decision and invited Mr. Potape to work with him in serving the people of Hela.
Governor seat is one seat, and elections we have tried. Now that court has dismissed the petition, I invite him to come and let's work together, and let's be leaders of Hela, and not just through elected members, but in our personal capacity, we can also provide leadership. So, governor seat is just one. We've got a lot of things and a lot of issues to address, and we need support from everyone back home. So.
Meanwhile, there is another election petition against Undialu by Dr. Amia Ewali, the third runner-up in the governor's seat. The decision on this petition will be delivered tomorrow.
And it's not easy to represent a province like Hela. And I thank Dr. Ewali and thank especially Francis Potape for controlling his supporters and respecting the rule of law.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Leh's Health and Community Services Department confiscated more than 5 cartons of illegal products at an Asian shop in Leh yesterday. The items include a tin fish brand named Dorim, sold on the shelves for 1 kina, with the due date removed from the top of the can. Leh's Acting Director for Health and Community Services, Jonathan Ipang, said the business responsible will be prosecuted once due processes are completed.
This brand fish has been sold on the shelves of an Asian shop in Leh. The shop was selling this can of fish for 1 kina. The expiry date located on the top of the can was removed. Leh's Acting Director for Health and Community Services, Jonathan Ipang, says this is overdue and identified as illegal product.
The health inspectors are now alert. There is law in place. It's just that health inspectors need to go out, condemn those foods, and then prosecute those responsible. So these are the actions that we will take. Immediate action is to close her, if required. Immediate attention, we will close the shops, and then the shop's owner will be prosecuted. Thank you.
The search of these counterfeit items follows complaints from the public that expired foods have been sold at an Asian shop. Lay's Health and Community Service Department quickly attended to the public complaint and confiscated these items. Mr. Ipang said Lay City Council will work closely with the Health Department and other responsible authorities to take legal actions on shops selling unlawful items.
When they go to do shoppings, when they noted that there is expired foodstuffs, dented foodstuffs, or when they know that there is food poisoning, they have to report this matter to the Health and Community Service Department of Lay City Council. So the health inspectors are responsible to enforce the Public Health Act, Food Sanitation Regulation 2007. So it's their responsibility. So I'm appealing to the public that when they come across any food complaints, they have to bring these complaints to the Health and Community Service Department so that the health inspectors will attend to their complaints as per the law.
This is not the first time counterfeit items were confiscated in Lay. There has been several others. Lay's acting director for health has appealed to the members of the general public to be careful when buying goods in the shops. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
Today is the last day of 2 sets of workshops on customs valuation held in Lay Morbe province. The first workshop was for customs officers and the second for trade division officials. These workshops were supported by the European Union and aimed at enhancing awareness on the correct legal valuation of imported goods. Civil society group Act Now PNG has called the plan by the Lands Minister to make 80% of customary land bankable as another land-grabbing scam. Act Now's campaign coordinator, Eddie Tanago, says the minister should be looking into cancelling all illegal special agriculture business leases. Tanago says customary land supports a huge economy, conservatively estimated to be worth more than 40 billion kina a year in subsistence lifestyle and small-scale agriculture. Minister Justin Chichenko is of the strong view that making land a part of surety for business will benefit people more.
We've got a big project.
Recently, Minister for Lands Justin Chichenko announced the department's plan to make customary land bankable.
At the moment, only 20% of our land, 20% of our land is currently being invested on or is being worked on. 80% is held by customary landowners. So the work that the minister's doing to identify all customary landowners, to register their ILGs with the Department of Land, working with the banks, so that if the customary landowners get investors to utilize their land, now we're working out a system where the bank will accept the customary land title and make it bankable for the benefit of our people throughout the country.
Today, Act Now told MTV News they believe it's another land grab.
His plans to actually give away customary land and make it bankable. Act Now, we think that it's another way. It's another land grab. We have the long overdue issue of SABL that was never been dealt with. Land totaling 5 million hectares of customary land. That issue has never been dealt with. And here is now the minister who is trying to create another land grab scam again, but this time with the banks.
Act Now campaign coordinator Eddie Tanago says it was untrue for the minister to claim that 80% of the land in Papua New Guinea is under customary control and is currently idle and unused.
Land in Papua New Guinea supports very, very huge economy, and it is estimated about 40 billion kina in subsistence lifestyle and small agriculture. We have 3 million farmers all throughout the country, and that very much, and these are skilled agronomists we're talking about, that are very much dependent on the land for employment and as an income source.
Act Now is concerned many customary landowners could use their loans for short-term consumption and be unable to repay the money, leading to the bank evicting communities and selling the lands which was used as security for the loan.
To free up land only for foreigners to own it, on the expense of our people, The concern we have here is that, these loans could be for short-term benefits only. And just imagine if these landowners are not able to repay the loans, what's going to happen? They will be eventually kicked off the land. The very own land that they own, they're going to be kicked off.
Mr. Tanago says customary land is too valuable to be used as collateral, and the Lands Minister and Prime Minister should focus on completing the cancellations of SABLs.
And loans and mortgages over customary land is an APEC issue. It is an APEC issue. And as we approach APEC, we must all expect to see more policies like this that are going to be driven by APEC agenda. And the minister should not talk about trying to create a new scam to get more land from the people. Instead, should go back and cancel the 5 million hectares of customary land under SABL, rather than trying to create a new scheme that will only impact or just only impress his APEC friends.
Adelaide Sirok's Kari National, MTV News.
ECP Governor Alan Bird has maintained that the new Boram Hospital will be built on the current location. Governor Bird says it has taken years for the Lands Department and local authorities to allocate land. Boram Hospital is among other 6 hospitals in the country to benefit from a loan worth 300 million Australian dollars from the Asian Development Bank.
Boram Hospital was criticized in 2014 and 15 for its declining status in providing health services. The Health Department condemned the hospital in late 2015. Former chair of the hospital board and East Sepik Governor Alan Bird says constant push for a new Boram will soon be achieved. He says a new Boram is dawning.
And we waited 3 years for land to be secured. In the end, I just couldn't take the criticism anymore. We decided to bite the bullet and do it. And so the new hospital is going to be right there in the same place.
According to statistics provided by the Health Department, East Sepik is regrettably one of the provinces outside the top 10 provinces performing poorly in health service delivery. But Governor Bird says promised funding in the past 3 years has swayed, resulting in decrease in figures budgeted and allocated for.
They promised us 20 million, they gave us 8 million. They promised us another 20 million, they gave us 4 million.
A MOU was signed recently between ADB, Treasury, Health and Planning Department to elevate 7 leading hospitals in the country. Boram is one. The East Sepik Governor says the board has not waited with 4 new wards to be built through other sourcing from development partners.
So we finished the first 4 and now they're doing the next 4 and then they're going to do the next 4 and the next 4 and until we get it all done.
The current Boram Hospital was originally built in 1962. Jack Lepavit Jr., National, MTV News.
Meanwhile, the ECP governor is concerned with the current level of lawlessness in the province. He has urged Police Minister Jelta Wong to fast-track appointments of police personnel in his province. He says the provincial government will also work closely with the police department to look at the welfare of officers serving in ECP.
It's something that's been a long time coming. We still don't have the police manpower, but we've got new command, and I'm very pleased with their resolve and their commitment to us restoring normalcy and peace and good order in our communities.
You're watching National MTV News. When we come back, the wife of the man shot by police in Kokopo calls for justice. Businesswomen in Medang want more SME support, and PNG's first local dairy milk product ready for distributions. Those stories when we come back. Welcome back to the news. A CID officer in Port Moresby was arrested and charged for 2 counts of assault under the Family Protection Act. 40-year-old Philemon Hamba from Bokin village in Wewak district was accused of kicking and punching his journalist wife. Police alleged that Hamba assaulted the wife at her home at the new police barracks at Bomana on October the 21st last year. He was arrested yesterday following a minute released from the NCD Metropolitan Superintendent's office to effect the arrest. The arrest comes 3 months after the alleged offence occurred. The 39-year-old man who was apprehended by Lay police last week for the sexual abuse and torture of his sister-in-law was denied bail at the Lay District Court today. He was charged with rape, deprivation of liberty and 2 counts of unlawful wounding. The presiding magistrate termed the abuse as animalistic and ruled that he be remanded at the Buimo CIS till his next hearing in April.
39-year-old Robin Burezi appeared for his first hearing at the Lay District Court today. He was denied bail due to the nature of his offences. Presiding Magistrate Pius Tapil said this was a sick case of genital mutilation and ruled that Burezi would be remanded at the Buimo Correctional Centre whilst police continue with investigations. Burezi was apprehended by Lay police last week Wednesday for sexually abusing and torturing his sister-in-law. The abuse went unreported for several months because he threatened to kill her if she went to police. In November and December, the abuse heightened with Burezi going further to mutilating her private parts. He was officially charged with rape, deprivation of liberty and 2 counts of unlawful wounding. Lay Metropolitan Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. said police will compile files and medical reports to ensure the case progresses in court. Meanwhile, the victim is undergoing treatment and counselling. Burezi's case was adjourned to the 30th of April. Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Lay.
The wife of an innocent man allegedly shot dead by police in East Nubitan Province has called for a formal investigation into the killing of her husband. Joan August says her husband had no criminal record but suffered a brutal death. Her husband, Lucas Kavanamur, was gunned down by police during a manhunt at Bitapaka about 3 weeks ago. Edwin Fidelis reports from Kokopo.
The death of Lucas Kavanamur has brought curiosity to his immediate family members at Tawi village in Bitapaka on the outskirts of Kokopo town. Today, his wife Joanne has thrown in a support, calling on the police hierarchies to carry out a thorough investigation into the shooting of her husband.
Feelings from me at Mina Mamas. Now, Pekini, Bali, class Kim Long, and Mina established that time, and Molpekini, ask Kim Long and took La Boya, class Kim Long.
3 weeks ago, late Lucas was shot during a manhunt conducted by a Kokopo-based task force team. The police were responding to a tip-off regarding a group of escapees residing in the area. Lucas, who was with a group of men, which the police believed has at least 2 escapees amongst them, were ambushed about a kilometer from his house. The police confronted the group but fired at them when they ran for cover. The others were safe, but Lucas wasn't.
They were just firing to the guy running up.
Since his death, community leaders at Tabui village have been pushing for an investigation into his killing. Most of them claimed the approach of the police officers were not right.
This plan, in a way, belong solving problem. Now, in a way, to belong bringing peace inside the family or inside the province. Now, this plan is so emotional. Police personally, and we making this plan and passing this money. It's so him, Minokat mo save again, lost threat him and bring him peace, he go inside the place.
Lucas' death comes amidst a recent wave of police brutality that claimed lives of innocent civilians all over the country. East Nubitan Provincial Police Commander Senior Inspector Joseph Tabali has brushed off these allegations, stating Lucas has had previous criminal records, but the village elders and his immediate family members has stated otherwise.
Because this man idaya. Man where and by me to innocent man, he knows something.
The relatives say they will file a case against the police and will take it to court to prove that late Lucas was truly innocent. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Kokopo.
Papua New Guineans engaged in SMEs in Madang are raising concerns over the lack of training and dissemination of information available to them. They say it is difficult to get the right information and acquire the correct skills needed in order to venture further in their businesses. Most of the entrepreneurs also raise the need to get more information on how they can access loans as startup capital.
More than 100 entrepreneurs from the 6 districts of Madang were part of a 2-week training program on SMEs. The training is aimed at upskilling them as well as provide them with information to help them grow their business. It is a 2-week training organized by Ecotourism Consultation Services. Facilitator Francis Stevens says the program was started in 2013 as an avenue for Papua New Guineans to have access to the right kind of information. It is also a way of helping most Papua New Guineans who are still trying to make ends meet every day.
If a guy or mother who looks after a store, he or she has to go to a storekeeper school. So he or she will know what's the management skills in there. Or looking after poultry, at least he has to attain something from the poultry sector. And that's when the government comes in and then facilitate, So from 50 chicks to about 100 or 200. So it's going to be a challenge. At the same time, there's training that mold and shape the participant.
Papua New Guineans engage in projects like poetry, betel nut selling and other informal businesses need to have the skills to grow. Another concern raised is foreigners taking over small businesses meant only for locals.
For me, it's really disgracing. Because when we talk about ownership, it's SME that will start it. Meaning that if it's going to be a small way, everybody has dreams to make business. It has to go big somewhere.
26-year-old Sophie Walegi Kapu was a participant in the training. She says the training is vital for women who have ideas to start up small projects but who lacked support.
Because they have the idea to do things but no capitals to help them boost their project up.
Another participant, 50-year-old Emma Bodo, has been running her own business for 20 years. She says in her 20 years, she has encountered too many problems, saying no one was willing to provide her with the right information. She says she is not the only one facing this problem, and it is about time the national government, through its SME policy, must take it seriously.
So, come out na bol tok lo one area blow me pla. By me pla understanding one and something MSME. So me pla sampla Mary lo place, sampla igat sawe, sampla no gat sawe lino school. So kaino se mem now me comes me grade 6 tas old. So me go lo sampla cosmics implant sawe. So liad yet.
Meanwhile, the 2-week training will end on Friday with the presentation of certificates to participants. Martha Louise, National EMTV News, Madang.
A local coffee cooperative in Eastern Highlands is prepared to stretch its business to the open market. The Numux Coffee Cooperative launched 100,000 nursery seedlings recently and is preparing to sell 10,000 seedlings to a processing firm. Vice Minister for Agriculture and Livestock, Henry Ame, had the honor of launching these 2 milestone achievements for the small group.
The people of Mauveto village in Bena district danced to the drums and danced in style to celebrate 2 achievements after years of commitment. Despite the market for coffee price facing some challenges in the past 3 years, the Numux Coffee Cooperative is going forward with its business arm. Vice Minister for Agriculture and Member for Goroko Henry Ahmed joined the celebrations. Cooperative Deputy Chairman One-Piece Max says interest has grown among farmers to place their product among the best in the country.
Nantablo just give me one big project. Coffee necessary. Now witness me.
The Coffee Nursery is a partnership project between CIC and local landowners. CIC assisted with 50,000 kina to get this nursery up and running. With the nursery having a capacity of 100,000 seedlings, farmers in the area will access these to revive the crop.
So you blah here, if you blah work one time, it's like a group that's all if you blah by taking attention. You by look sabe or members as you like group stuff. Now by taking attention, long line outside, we only like helping blah when again way.
Outspend PNG, a non-government organization, was the first buyer of the Numux coffee product, paying 15,000 kina for 10,000 seedlings. Vice Minister Ahmed says the group must expand the seedlings to a kina-to-kina basis. He urged the cooperative to increase their capacity by sourcing funding from NDB with CIC's help.
You set him example no you mean online no place or some. You mean must make him this plan. Time you walk in, government by come. Hamblo government CIC staff. Me plow agriculture department Sarapak said law CIC. But me play help him you.
Jack Lapave Jr. National EMTV News.
Coming to shopping shelves on February the 6th is PNG's first local dairy milk. Because it is locally produced, it will cut down the cost of fresh milk by about 50% per litre. Minister for National Planning and Monitoring, Richard Maru, says this is a milestone for the PNG agro industry and a great boost for the agriculture sector.
This morning, Innovative Agro Industry Chairman Elan Wise presented the first bottle of PNG-produced dairy milk to Minister Richard Maru.
Innovatives, really, I have years of experience in dairy industry. I've tasted the milk. This is the best milk that you can find universally, globally. Okay, no compromises on quality.
Ilimo Dairy Farm, which was redeveloped last year, is now producing 6 tons of milk every day, which is 6,000 bottles of milk. Once these products reach the market, it will be sold at half the price of what fresh milk is being sold for currently. By May, Mr. Wise says they should be producing 12 tons of fresh milk.
We're starting with the fresh milk, but we will add more products along the line. So we will have flavored milk, again, with the slash prices. We will have yogurts. Yogurts are...
Minister Maru says the primary reason why PNG's economy is suffering is because we are importing more than we can export. With the government's priority in agriculture, this bottle of milk gives a great boost for more locally produced products.
In total, we import about 400 million kilowatt of milk every single year out of Australia and New Zealand. The Ilimo project will see us replace a third of our total milk imports. It won't be enough to replace all the imports, but it will be enough to replace a third. We are now working on a second dairy farm at Yalu, just outside of Lae. The LR Group is now completing the feasibility study. We're going to build the second plant, dairy farm in Lae, and that will be able to produce 2/3 of our total milk required for the country. So over the next 12 to 24 months, Papua New Guinea will be able to produce enough milk to replace the total milk imports from Australia and New Zealand.
The biggest production expense is the cattle feed. But because Innovative Agro Industry has been able to grow most of it locally, they have been able to reduce that cost.
It's pork or others, or dairy, is feed.
The cost of feed.
So if you bring the cost of feed down, you bring the cost of the price of proteins down.
We can produce all of it now.
We are producing it.
Yes. So yes, our plan is to produce everything, all the feed. And that's a new industry, grain industry.
Lillian Kinea, National EMTV News.
Fiji National Provident Fund, FNPF, has entered into an agreement to buy into Bank South Pacific. FNPF is Fiji's sovereign superannuation fund and is a major investor across Fiji and one of the country's largest property owners. BSP Chairman Sekostas Constantino announced FNPF's impending shareholding in BSP through the sale agreement it had entered into on January the 22nd. This share sale agreement with NPFF will see IFC divesting 22.3 million shares, which is 50% of its current shareholding. Following the share sale, IFC will continue to hold a minority equity stake in BSP, whilst providing multiple financing facilities to support BSP's expansion across Pacific and overseas. Citing global climate change as one of the biggest global challenges, Prime Minister Peter O'Neill will continue to advance critical development issues, including access to development support, when he speaks at the World Economic Forum tomorrow. The World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, brings together world leaders, senior business executives, and representatives of non-government organizations each year to address issues of globalization, inclusion, and economic growth. As chair of APEC in 2018, O'Neill said he will voice regional concerns. He further added that dealing with environmental risks is one of the most critical issues for Pacific and APEC economies. Here with National EMTV News, we'll have more of today's stories after these messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back to National EMTV News. Continuous rains in the Makam area of Morobe province have taken a toll on the roads there. These pictures supplied by Wafi Golpu Joint Venture show sections of the Makam highway that have eroded due to heavy rains in the area. Of particular concern is the imminent collapse at two sections, the 9-mile culvert along the Highlands Highway and a portion of road 2 kilometers west of the Makam Bridge along the Bulolo Highway. Teams from the Provincial and National Works Department have been notified and will be in the area in the coming days to survey the damage. National EMTV News will be following these developments. Still in Morobe province, and its tertiary students today protested against the Morobe provincial administration on the Gerson Solulu scholarship policy, online registration and the 4 million Kina provincial education budget for 2018. The students challenged the provincial administration to review the education policy, to stop registration online and to increase the provincial education budget to 6 million Kina. Morobe's Provincial Education Minister, Andrew Gena, assured the students that the Provincial Executive Committee members will meet tomorrow to address these concerns.
This is the crowd of students that turned up at the Morobe Provincial Government Office today. These students attend 25 tertiary institutions and colleges in PNG. They gathered here since 8 a.m. in the morning. The students waited to be addressed by Morobe's provincial administration until noon today. The students raised concerns over the review of Gerson Solulu scholarship policy, online registration, and to increase the 2018 provincial education scholarship budget.
Mibla looking mo you know what good communication na mele administration and the political leads. Na administration na mo kora time mibla sa confront mo ligo ko nam to mibla talk now am no kat. Mibla let's look at administration. Mibla ba go na looking political leads mibla because administration na mo kora road look mo no talk mibla may go na make just finish. Na majority of the people lost la rural. You know inside the lay city, tingin. Majority mo stala. So that inside the mo kan man mo sabe o can apply ni pla connection to. But what about the schools law? Can you say online finish to Tregafen, online finish to Grace, and what is online? Makam Valley. You meet the online science to push, Minema, can you say? How about all style up na apply? Flex club 2 mobile, 5 kina mobile, 6 kina, 3 kina mobile, 4 kina, can you say? You must think yourself too. Let's do some time, also, Chilo one block style house line, over 2 kilometers, 1 kilometer, so also come back from the student leaders also cry. And we literally see their tears, and it breaks our heart. That's right. We plus a worry, not cry, but we cannot do anything because you, the leaders of Morobe, have failed them.
This is not the first time the students from Morobe have protested to the provincial government. They have been doing this for more than 5 years. The Provincial Education Minister for Morobe, Andrew Gena, assured the students that the administration would look into their concerns and give a response by tomorrow.
When the governor comes tomorrow, I will advise him that OSM, so I need long and by direction to go down. We will direct the administration as of today to tell them that they will accept both online as well as with a hard copy.
Mr. Gena also called on the students to focus and make good use of the privilege given to them with the Gerson Solulu scholarship. Julie Badui Owa, National EMTV News, Lay.
A community at Port Moresby's Tokarara suburb is disappointed after their community field was recently fenced off to construct an institution's teaching facility. Community leader of Gaveta Street, Edward Sasale, says there was no consultation with the community and the parties involved before construction began on land that was used by the community for sports and other leisure activities.
More than 80 community members at Gaveta Street have signed a petition against the construction of classrooms by Como Teachers College.
These 86 signatures now, I think we have already bring this to the human rights lawyers, and the Court of Disputes will be up here in the National Court. So then the court will decide.
The community says the portion of land at Atonement 100, Section 227 at Tokarara has been used as a sporting field and community gathering area for the people to conduct religious gatherings and other meetings. Edwards said the land belongs to the state but has been used by the community for many years, and the lack of consultation with them and the parties concerned have raised suspicions among them.
NCDC Lands and Physical Planning Board to give him a permission to bring him into this community here. But this community here, Section 227, Lot 100, it's belong to the community, the Gaveta Street community. And then we use this field for our young people to do their trainings, like the sporting trainings, and then we also invite the religious groups to come in for religious instruction and all those to the community.
Moses, the captain of the local rugby team in the community, also expressed his disappointment.
So, Roman by making this please supporting community Blotokarana. Help him also in this school level. Maybe I need him field black come back on plugin. Yeah, la school me so. You know, I plug in but building no can build him so. I need the rouse.
Director of the institution, Mr. Max Curry, when approached yesterday by EMTV, says he is operating under an MOU with NCDC Physical Planning Board and Lands Department to rent the portion of land for the next 4 to 5 years. However, behind this fence is the construction of 8 permanent buildings belonging to Kumul Teachers College. Stacey Yallo, National MTV News.
This is National MTV News. Trukai Sports is up next. We will be back with all the details. Stay tuned.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. We begin with cricket, and the PNG Under-19 Garamuts remain winless at the ICC Under-19 World Cup in New Zealand. They lost their quarter-final match by 80 runs to Canada yesterday.
Akash Gill led the way for Canada with 120 from 115 balls as they totaled a 265 for 8 batting first at Lincoln Green. James Tao picked up 2 wickets, and in reply, keeper batsman Simon Atai top scored with a well-compiled 81, but PNG lost wickets at regular intervals to be all out for 185 in the 45th over. The PNG Garamuts were beaten by Zimbabwe, India and Australia in pool play. PNG will face Ireland in the semis-plate playoff and can finish as high as 13th in the 16-team tournament. Elijah Levet, National MTV Sports.
To netball, and former PNG representative Margaret Eka, who was absent for 2 years after a successful 2015 Pacific Games, has spoken to MTV Sports about her hopes to get back onto the netball court. Margaret has been lending her support for other athletes at the High Performance Centre and says her goal this year is to make it back into the national side.
It was at age 13 when Margaret Eka fell in love with the sport of netball and a few years later pursued her career in netball at aged 19. In 2013, Margaret led the Under-19 women's team to the Pacific Series in Samoa. 2 years on, she was selected captain of the Under-21 national women's team, leading the girls to the World Youth Netball Championships in Glasgow. In 2015, Margaret represented PNG in the Pacific Games shortly after she had an accident on the court.
It's been 2 years of being out. After the Pacific Games, I did my ACL and I had to get back. 1 year I didn't get my surgery done because of medical reasons to travel to Australia. During that year, I was helping out with TID, with high performance, and then at the end of 2016, I had my surgery done. And I had to recover for 12 months. Now I'm ready to get back and play.
Now with the search for peppers at hand, Margaret who now works for PNG High Performance, says it's an opportunity not to be missed, especially when it's something she loves and enjoys most. As she explains, making it to the World Qualifiers in New Zealand would mean a lot to her.
During the 2 years I've been out, it's been very challenging. The only person that supported me was my dad, my family too, obviously, but my dad was my main supporter. Just July last year, I lost him, and it's been really hard to get things done. But then High Performance came in, and then they've been really helpful towards me. I mean, they're doing their job to help athletes, so that's what they did. And I had to fly over to Gold Coast for the leadership summit. And from there, I learned a lot to give me courage and strength to get back.
Despite battling obstacles and feeling worthless, Margaret, who defined herself as a fighter, says struggling for 2 years to fight her way back up had the support of her family, and her late father was the support she needed, which she is grateful for today.
Yeah, many have turned up. There's many skills and talents young girls have turned up, and it's going to be challenging. The fitness and skill level of netball have improved a lot in the last 2 years. So if I make it into the team, then it will be a credit for myself to make it back into the national team after 2 years.
Her advice to the young netball players planning to make the Peppers in the future should never give up, but instead try harder. Meanwhile, once the final selection of the Peppers team is finalized, the team will go into 8 to 9 weeks of training before traveling to New Zealand in April to attend the World Qualifiers. Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
You're with True Cries Sports. You'll be back with more after these messages. Stay tuned.
True Cries Sports.
Welcome back to True Cries Sports. Since the inception of mixed and men's netball competition in 2016, the association is now preparing for the 2018 season and is calling on interested teams to come along and join. While the main aim for this year is to build all-male engagement and as well as building skill sets, the association has also introduced master mixed events for those over the ages of 35 to also participate in the competition.
This year, the mixed and men's netball competition will see the divisions play in social mixed and premier mixed and men's. With the competition expected to kick-start in April, the competition is slowly gaining its popularity. It is aimed at building male engagement following the committee's decision to allow men to all participate in both the mixed and men's events respectively, but also to build stronger skill sets for the men. The committee has added a dedicated league for those 35 years or older for the inaugural Masters Mixed League, allowing those much older to also participate. This will allow older players to continue to play, have fun, make new friends, and play at a pace more suited to their age. With the competition in its third year, team numbers are growing rapidly. PNG Men's and Mixed Netball Association is encouraging teams to get in quick as there are limited team spaces available. Godwin Eki, National, EMTV Sports.
And that ends True Cries Sports. Up next, here were the details for the next 24 hours. Stay tuned.
True Cries Sports. True Cries Sports.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In the southern region, mostly fine for Popondetta. The showers expected in Alutau, Kerma, Daru and Port Moresby. To the Momasa region, fine weather expected all across the region in Vanimo, Wewak, Madang, Wau and Ley. To the New Guinea Islands region, mostly fine in Lorengau and Kavieng. Some showers expected in Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka. And in the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, all these major centers can expect fine weather over the next 24 hours with morning fog.
The weather details are proudly brought to you by Dulux Weather Shield. Worth doing with Dulux.
And before we go, a recap of our top stories this evening. National Court dismisses Hela Governorship challenge. More illegal products removed from Asian shop shelves in Leh. And PNG's first local dairy milk product coming to shops as soon as the 6th of next month. And that's the news, sport and weather for today, Wednesday, January the 24th, 2018. On behalf of the entire national EMTV news team, pleasant viewing. Good night.